Therapy is not a trend or a quick fix. It's healthcare that helps our relationships, work, finances, and the way that we experience our daily lives. The goal is to make this subject more understandable, digestible, and a lot less anxiety provoking, while offering practical information for you to help you manage the therapy journey. Hi, welcome to the Reframe. I'm Deb Norton. If there's one thing that causes unnecessary stress for people, it's dealing with insurance. Today, I want to use what I've learned over 3 decades in mental health to help you navigate the insurance nightmare. Over time, using insurance for therapy has become much more complicated. The benefits landscape can be incredibly difficult to understand, with rules upon rules and countless costs adding up. You really need to have a law degree to sort it all out. But unfortunately, the confusion it causes often leads to emotional and financial costs for people like you who are seeking help through therapy. Today, we're going to start to clear the air with a few misconceptions about mental health therapy. The first one is having medical insurance automatically means that you have the same coverage for mental health therapy. Not true. Not all healthcare plans include mental health benefits. It's totally dependent upon the specific type of package that you have through your employer or the marketplace. Here's a great example. Let's say that you and a friend work for the same company and you both signed up for Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO plans. But after our conversation, you discover that your friend has very different benefits from yours. You have individual and group therapy benefits with a high deductible and a higher than average copayment, whereas your friend has individual, group, marriage and family benefits, a low deductible and copay, and treatment coverage for mental health and substance abuse. That's because the plans are highly variable, even within a company. Differences are based on factors such as benefits administrators, Blue Cross, Aetna, United, and the specific plan that's selected, employment classification, and whether you're an hourly wage earner or a salaried worker. Next, some companies offer medical and mental health benefits from two different insurance companies. Let's say that you work for a large corporation that offers Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO coverage for medical care, but not for mental health. That's because some employers, in an attempt to save money, will carve out mental health and substance abuse benefits with another company. For many years, I was an in-network provider for Blue Cross Blue Shield. A local Fortune 500 company was contracted with them for medical benefits, but the corporation also had a contract with United Healthcare for mental health and substance abuse. For many of those employees, finding a therapist who was in network was a runaround, mostly because the employees were not aware that their mental health benefits were a carve-out of their medical benefits. United was a lesser known company at the time, and many of those employees assumed that a Fortune 500 employer would have good benefits and couldn't understand why their mental health benefits were with a lesser known company at the time. It created a lot of unnecessary stress and confusion as they spent all of their time looking for an in-network provider with the wrong insurance company. When they called me, just the name of the employer clued me in that they were in for some bad news that I had to deliver. They did not have Blue Cross Blue Shield for mental health, and I was not in network with United Healthcare at the time, who administered their benefits. The second misconception about mental health therapy is that if you have mental health coverage, your insurance will automatically pay for all of your therapy. That's simply not true. Even if your plan covers one type of therapy, it may not cover the other forms of mental health care. For example, your plan may cover individual therapy but not cover couples or family therapy. You may also have limited coverage, different requirements or exclusions that change what insurance will and will not pay. This is very common when dealing with inpatient mental health or substance abuse. Those services can last 30 or more days and cost thousands of dollars. The best way to get detangled from this situation is to call your insurance company before you start therapy. I ask all of my clients to do this. When you call, ask them for a full explanation of your behavioral health benefits so you understand what your specific policy covers and what your financial responsibility will be moving forward. Here's a helpful list of questions to ask when you reach out to your insurance company. Do I have individual, couples, family, and teletherapy benefits? Do I have a deductible and an out-of-pocket maximum for mental health care? And if so, how much remains unmet for this year? Do I have a copay or coinsurance? And if so, how much is it? Do I need a referral or a prior authorization before starting therapy? Is my chosen therapist an in-network provider for my benefits? And is there a limit on the number of sessions allowed per year or any restrictions that I should know about? While good therapists will help you understand their practice policies, many of us generally expect our clients to know about their insurance coverages before we get started. It's in your best interest to call your insurance because if your insurance doesn't cover your therapy, you're the one who's going to be stuck paying for it. So, showing up informed will help our process go a lot smoother while avoiding a stressful situation later. So, is that the end of the conversation? You've called your insurance company, you understand your benefits. You now have all that you can do to just find a therapist and get started, right? No, not exactly. The third misconception about mental health therapy is that because insurance covered your therapy in the past, they'll cover it again. Just because Aetna insurance covered your therapy last year, and you may even have the same ID and group number on your card this year, still doesn't guarantee that your benefits will cover your therapy today. It's a landmine adventure out there, folks. And the minute you think that you understand it, they change the process again. The insurance nightmare. It is real. Here's my last misconception about mental health therapy. I often get the same shocked response every time I tell my new clients about this. Let's say that you've spoken with your insurance company, you have outpatient mental health benefits for in-person individual therapy. You've met your deductible for the year. You have a $25 copay due at every session. You don't need a referral. There are no session limits or other exclusions to be aware of, and your therapist of choice is in network. But your insurance still may not pay for your therapy. And that's because insurance companies require mental health therapy to be medically necessary. This is actually the majority of the reason why we're required to diagnose, to provide insurance a platform to determine if, in fact, you need therapy. Like medical, some mental health conditions are not covered, while others might be. If your insurance company denies a claim, determines that a service is not covered, or concludes that the care does not meet your plan requirements, you may be responsible for the cost of your therapy. And that takes you off your insurance and puts you on a fee-for-service basis with your therapist and their self-pay rates. The amount of money that you owe depends on what your therapist charges. Logically, seasoned therapists are going to be a little bit more expensive, but you pay for those years of experience, and it translates oftentimes into higher quality therapy. That is why it's so important to ask your therapist up front. What is your self-pay rate that I will owe per session if insurance does not pay? When do you collect those payments for self-pay sessions? What form of payment do you accept? Credit cards, cash check, HSA cards, or cash apps? Talking money at this stage of the process can feel uncomfortable, especially when you're already navigating emotional struggles that motivated you to seek therapy in the first place. But trust me, asking these questions in advance will help prevent unexpected bills later and the added stress that goes along with it. Therapy is not a luxury for many people. It's an essential form of self-care. You deserve transparency before you start therapy regarding what your insurance carrier will cover and what your financial responsibility is going to be in the end. Hopefully, this video has helped some of you who are struggling to understand the basic parameters of using insurance for mental health therapy. Get subscribed to my channel so you don't miss more important information about mental health therapy. Thanks for joining me on The Reframe. I'm Deb Norton. We'll talk soon.